We've covered with great interest what's been going on between Fox News and the Trump campaign. The Trump campaign obviously goes there and they speak often several times a day. Well, they've been calling them out significantly more. Brian Kilmeade name-checked Hogan Gidley, the new Trump campaign spokesperson. Happened again yesterday during daytime television. Let's take a listen.
As I've mentioned on your show before, the compare and contrast with Donald Trump and Joe Biden is stark. You don't have to guess what America would look like under Joe Biden. You've seen it. The economy was horrible. The city streets are devolving into lawlessness. And all he says is, should we defund the police? Yes, absolutely.
He's not saying to defund the police. He's not calling to defund the police.
He was asked about defunding, and he said yes, absolutely. And he said that the police are actually becoming the enemy. So you don't have to guess. Your job isn't safe, your life isn't safe, and your American way of life is not safe with Joe Biden because his policies just wage war on all three.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And she name checks him again there. And this is just a continuing trend because it happened again on the same day, shortly hours later after Trump was speaking in the Rose Garden with Neil Cavuto doing the exact same thing, just being like, nope, what he's saying there is just not
correct
accurate.
at all. Before we go to Cavuto, let me I just want to provide what Biden actually said, because Mark Lauder here said basically the same thing about the police becoming the enemy. And afterwards I was like, I kind of doubt that he said that, so I'm going to look it up. Here's what he said. This is a full quote. Surplus military equipment for law enforcement, they don't need that. The last thing you need is an up-armored Humvee coming into a neighborhood. It's like the military invading. They don't know anybody. They become the enemy. They're supposed to be protecting these people. So very much out of context. Look, this is the guy who created mass incarceration, still supports more funding for the police. So this idea is obviously ludicrous.
This is what bothers me so much. You don't need to invent controversies. You don't have to invent.
Or that he's going to abolish the suburbs. Does anyone believe that? It's ridiculous.
You don't have to invent these types of attacks whenever the real ones exist. NAFTA actually happened and it destroyed this country. TPP and PNTR with China actually happened.
Right.
The Obama administration of the invasion of Libya, that happened. Iraq, ISIS, Afghanistan, all of that. You don't need to make up anything. Just point to it every single day. You supported the Iraq war and you lied about now supporting it.
Yeah.
And yet they make up things like this, which are so easily called out.
Right. I mean, the defund the police thing is just so blatant because he's explicitly said, I do not support that. To my chagrin, by the way. But I think it's it's denied them, which should be an easy talking point, to the point that even they're getting called out on Fox News. And as you were saying, so after Trump gave his speech and he was talking about, deregulation under the Obama administration versus him, and he's, goes way there. And there is a very strong economic case to be made against the Obama administration as well that we have made here.
Yeah.
But he and the team go into this land of outlandishness to the point that, again, Fox News' Neil Cavuto decided he needed to cut in to this speech, right, and actually correct the record. Let's take a listen.
I do want to clarify a couple of things. He said that no president in history has cut regulations as much as he has. That is true. I think he might have mischaracterized the regulations that were added under Barack Obama. They were largely financial related. You might recall we had this little thing called the financial meltdown, and much of those regulations were geared to preventing banks from ever investing in things like risky mortgage securities, pooling them, selling them off. That tended to be really the scourge of that entire period. So more than half the regulations the Obama administration added were of that bent post the meltdown. Another quick point, when the president referred to the horrible results, I put that word in there, or the disappointing results of the prior administration for adding those regulations, be that as it may, the unemployment rate did under Barack Obama go down from a high of 10% to around 4.7%.
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of
the fact that he feels the need to do that, I think is pretty amazing. And I think what it is that, look, everybody can read the polls. Everybody can read what's going on. And you're looking at whatever's traditional, the same old talking points and all that, and you're just like, no, this is not working. And I'm glad that they're getting called out on it. We do it too here.
Yeah.
Which is that these people need to know. It's if you continue to run this type of campaign, A, you look like a joke. But B, it's not working for you.
Yeah.
And they just won't get it through their heads. It's kind of incredible.
And I think you're right to point out, look, they can read the polls as well as we can. Right. And so if Trump was up in the polls or if it was even close, I don't know that they would feel the latitude to go out and check them in the way that they are right now. So the fact that you have at least some personalities on Fox News who are kind of, distancing themselves, who are trying to set the record straight, who are creating a little bit of ideological independence here. And look, I don't want to give them too much credit. Like Neil Cavuto and his ideology could not be more polar opposite. He's like a pro-business, corporate kind of a guy. Like that's his whole thing. But it's just interesting to see people who are calculating their own self-interest and where to position themselves moving into November. You can see that they are increasingly kind of trying to check the Trump campaign, and it's wild to watch.
Good point.
All right, more Rising for you after this.